your Uncle Bala. So good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Professor Bala Balchandran, founder and dean, Great Lakes Institute of Management, and one of my mentor, motivator in the financial market, though he is in the academics. Dr. S.K. Shanti, Chair Professor, Union Bank Center for Banking Excellence, Great Lakes Institute of Management. Professor S. Ram, Executive Director, Great Lakes Institute of Management. Sri S.K. Jain, Executive Director, Union Bank of India, my old colleague. Other distinguished teachers, faculty members, the students of the Great Lakes Institute, my colleagues from the Reserve Bank of India, participants to this conference, representative from the print and electronic media, if they are present, I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, it is very difficult to say something after Professor Bala Balchandran, whether it is a welcome address or a vote of thanks or it is a keynote address. All these addresses are special address, and that's why I am limited by his speaking before me. Still, it is indeed a great pleasure for me not to deliver the inaugural address. Inaugural address, you see, will be given in the printed form in your proceedings. It is available because in Reserve Bank of India we have this advantage. A battery of speech writers, and you give any topic, they will create a speech immediately. And at the third annual financial conference on systemic risk, being organized by Union Bank, Great Lakes Center for Excellence in Banking and Finance. But that's what I am saying. I am going to restrict myself into some debate, some talk, rather than speaking on that, because it is available, and you have great faculty members, teachers, you know much better than me what is systemic risk, what are the consequences, you are doing research. Let me give some, but let me first congratulate to all of you for selecting a very topical subject for today's discussion. Is India hedged against systemic risk? I am not going to talk exactly on that. I will raise that why this should be the only topic with systemic risk. That's the issue, and we must debate. Question is not only topical, but also one which concerns one of and all of us in the central bank. That is what Professor Bala said. Bankers, industry, government, economy at large, and more importantly, the main stakeholder, that the people of the country. Now let me come to the topic. You see, systemic risk. You see, at the beginning only somebody defined systemic risk. I will not again make the endeavor to define what is systemic risk. I only say that what is the individual risk and systemic risk, how do we differentiate? It is just like trees and forests. If you are having a fire, one tree is burnt, what we call this is a risk to that particular tree. And when we say that entire forest is under fire, what we call it is a systemic risk. That's what we must understand. And that's why I have the first objection topic. Nobody can avoid the ill effects of the systemic risk. We must avoid systemic risk manifesting. Once it has manifested, it will be affected by this, and that is what we will be not able to avoid that thing. So, hedging against systemic risk is still the systemic risk. Does not happen. Once it happens, the hedging is not possible. And systemic risk has happened. We are talking, all of you have said, from 2008. So you will be not able to avoid yourself from that. So that's the first point. So why you are talking of hedging? You see, that stage is over. Now, for the last 5 years we are saying that, you see, under the global turmoil, global meltdown, financial market, and we must understand that, look, generally risk crisis happens in the real sector. If the real sector crisis happens, financial sector absorbs the shock. And if the financial sector something happens, it is the sovereign or the government sectors absorb the shock. Now we had a problem in the real sector. It went to the financial sector could not absorb the shock. And that's why entire financial crisis came. But we then said for 5 years we are discussing, we are saying, but we have come to a situation, then the government came to the rescue. But today, the problem is no longer bank, financial system or the real sector, problem is of sovereignty. And that's what we are discussing. And that's why this crisis has become, you see, Pastor, totally systemic, engulfing all the aspects. You see, either the real sector or financial sector, sovereign, all have been involved. And it will be very difficult to hedge it completely. What we should talk about? Can we manage this systemic risk, adverse impacts of this systemic risk in India? Can we minimize it? That will be more, I think, useful topic to discuss. And we will be not able to, we cannot say, we said that, you see, in the past, that we are decoupled theory, uncoupled theory, all over we use. And finally we have seen that no, our growth rate has come down, we are not able to manage the inflation. There are many other problems, I don't want to do it. Now, how do we now? There I come to again, the Professor Bala's thing. Why you are so pessimistic about the risk or systemic risk? Why can't we say that if risk happens, that gives an opportunity also? And why cannot we say what opportunities we can get out of this systemic risk which is happening across the globe? And can we take advantage of this thing? And why don't you think? And that's why I remember, you see, in 2009 January, I went to UK. And I said that I want to open, I was chairman of the Punjab National Bank, I want to open 2 new branches in UK. People are closing down the branches at that time. So we invited that somebody, minister, you see, that trade minister, somebody, that he has to come and inaugurate my bank branch in UK, in London, on and back. Now somebody who went to go invite him, he said, what is this? As the Punjab chairman has to come back. Now everybody was closing the branch and he is saying that he will expand this. What has happened? Now sir, he is opening the branch, you see, we invite. He came and he said, at that time I still remember, and when it was, look, when there is a risk, when there is a crisis, it gives the opportunity. And those who have this intrinsic strength, in fact, that is the time for them to acquire the market share. Because everything is available cheap, and nobody is going for that. And though if you are having the strength, that is the best time to acquire something, and that is the time of expansion. I told him that. That's why you are opening in UK, we are opening your office in Norway also. Now, what I am trying to say, we must look into that. Are we having some strength? Then this crisis, we can also get some benefit. And many countries are utilizing this as an opportunity to improve their influence. In fact, all systemic crises, if you see across the world, whenever this happens in any segment, new power equations emerge. Somebody who was powerful, his power will go down, and some new power will emerge because they take the opportunity. And this is going to happen. Can we take this opportunity? That's the first question. So what I am saying, can we manage the risk better, systemic risk better? No. It all depends on our inherent strength. Now, if we say that we want to manage this thing better, then we must say that what are the positive factors for which we will accentuate the risk that create the problem for you, and we have plenty of problems. There is not one or two problems. You see, we have a problem of fiscal deficit. Of course, fiscal deficit is no longer a bad word across the globe. People who borrow more, we say that they are the better economy. And if you see, in fact, more money goes to them. That's the thing. There cannot be a better example than the United States. So, but problem is then why fiscal deficit is problem for us? Because we are a small economy, we borrow less. And again, I am using my banking knowledge. If I lend somebody 5,000 rupees, it is the borrower's problem. But if I lend somebody 5,000 crores of rupees, it becomes bank's problem. Now the problem of the world, the systemic risk is this, that entire world has finance. And it is the poor people have financed the United States of America. They are borrowing for them. Now it is become the entire global problem how to protect United States and Europe. And that is the one of the manifestation of the systemic risk is there. How do we protect them? How do we make it? Just like this year, all banks are struggling hard. How to save the Kingfisher, how to save the Air India, or how to save some steel company. The same thing, entire globe is trying hard. And you heard Professor Balabasan, China's problem is how to save United States economy. That's the problem has become, and that's why systemic means that now entire world is becoming one, and that's how it is happening, and that's why it is becoming much more problematic. How will so let me say fiscal deficit is one area. Then we have two deficits. What we call twin deficit. One is fiscal deficit and is a current account deficit. Our government is borrowing too much, but more than that, country as a whole, we are borrowing too much. And our external sector is very, very vulnerable. Now, these are negative. Our inflation is one of the highest. In fact, among the emerging markets, we have the distinction. Now, whether it is notoriety or famous, I don't know, notorious. We have the famous or notorious distinction having the highest inflation, highest fiscal deficit, highest current account deficit. Among the emerging markets, that's our problem. Then you all say that you are all giving the bad news. You are saying that we want to do something and these are all bad news. Our inflation growth has already come down, will be not. But then what are the strong points? And the strong points, its foundation comes from the Great Lake Institute. A person like Bala, Professor Bala, he lays the foundation of that part of the strong point. One is the strong point, the people who are sitting before me. We have a young population. And young population, if you are having young population, that economy has always higher, better chance of flourishing. Because you have the employment, you have more consumption, these are the advantage, you see. We have low per capita income. Now Bala said, if you are at the top, there is only one direction, you can go down. But if you are at the bottom, there is only one direction, you can go up. Per capita income by we are very, very low. You see, you take any indicator, social indicator, you see economic indicator, you see health indicator, anything, we are at the bottom. So we can go only one direction, that is up direction. That is an advantage. Our financial system is less complex. That's what he said. He told Dr. Y.V. Reddy, don't bother about that. You have not done many such idiotic things. He was said, don't bother about those things. You will remain safe. So our financial system is not that complex structure. But you say it is less risky. In fact, we did not allow our banks to take risk. What is the percentage of people who are having access to credit in this country?
2%.
This is what you are all financially illiterate people. It is 10% around. It is not 2%, not that bad. It is about 10% institutional system. Now, 10 become 12 because nobody knows. I don't know. Even in Reserve Bank, how many bank people are having deposit account? And I don't know how many people are having access to credit. And no bank can say, even Mr. Jain will be not able to say how many customers he is having. Because what is the problem is that they only know number of bank accounts. And I am talking of customer. What is the difference between the bank account and customer? Customer is a live entity. And bank account is a ledger page. So all our bankers, they all say customer-centric organization, but they don't know how many customers they are having. That is another systemic risk we are having. So, what I am saying that we have not allowed our banks to take the risk. Only 10% people are having access to credit. Now what happens when 80% people are having access to credit? The risk will be much higher. So we are much better off. Then what we say that, you see, we have a better saving rate. Ours is not a borrowing society, it is a saving society. That is another important thing. Now, whether the savings is a good thing or bad thing, I don't know. But today across the globe, people are saying saving is a better thing. You see, before 100 years in this country, any person who used to save money, what you used to call him? Miser. Today who saves money, you call him is a wonder. That is how it is. Ours is a saving society. That is also. And you see, look, why I am saying this thing, if we have to take advantage of this particular crisis situation risk, what I say that those who have a strength, this is an opportunity for them. Then we must understand what are the strong points and how you take advantage of are the strong points and what are the adverse points, how we are able to mitigate the adverse impact of it. What should we do so that we will be able to, and that is how we can manage the systemic risk. There is no question of hedging against it. That how are we going to manage the risk? The risk has already manifested. Then at the same time we must work improving our system and processes that in future the systemic risk don't manifest. Anyhow, I can assure you it will not manifest during our lifetime. In your lifetime I don't have any idea how long this will continue. Such crisis happens once in a lifetime. And that's why people are not able to tackle the crisis. Because nobody has experience of tackling the crisis. And for the last 5-6 years, people are only saying, this is the crisis, what type of crisis, and whether it is a banking crisis, it is a financial crisis, it is a sovereignty. We are still groping in the dark. Nobody has any solution. Why don't you discuss, debate on this issue and find out a solution? That is a new research topic I can suggest to all of you and come out that thing. But then, even if you understand this, you give a suggestion, it will be not implemented for next 100 years. And after 100 years, what will happen? When this crisis will happen, people will have no idea. This is what happened. You see, maybe that this type of crisis last time happened in 1930. Some other many crises have happened, not of this order, we don't know. And many people ask me, then what is your problem? If we are at the lowest, what is the problem? You see, my problem is I don't know how long we will continue there. That's the problem. And we must, if we are saying that we are tackling the systemic crisis, we must say how quickly we will move up. This is an opportunity, and how quickly we move up. Now, I said the government finances issue, that is the thing. Government, you see, it is not that, again I am not repeating, our new financial minister, once he has taken a charge, he has given a 12-half-page statement, that they are addressing the issue. So good news is that everybody is aware of what are the problems. Nobody is saying that there is no problem. You see, that is one good thing, that we are accepting there is a problem. I say that that is another thing. And people say that we will take action. Whether they will take action or not, that is a different issue. But at least they are saying that they will take action. That is one good news I can tell you. That is the thing. Now, the job of this, that how to create awareness in society, and in a democracy society, government is always forced to act. They never act on their own. And you see, unpopular measures, they never. So how to create the debate and so that they are forced to act? That is one way of looking into that. And I am very happy so that I am positive about that. That movement, that something is happening in the society. Everybody is talking of, whether we like it or we don't like it, but everybody is talking of. You see, some of the great institutions in this country, they are revolting against this particular way. You see, especially I must say what the Supreme Court is doing or what the CAG is doing. You see, I am not saying what they are doing, whether right or wrong. That is not my job to do. But they are definitely trying to revolt, saying that what is happening is not correct. It is not that that does not mean whatever they are saying is correct in that case, but they are creating a debate. And what I say, can this seminar raise the level of this debate much more? That how are you going to mitigate the adverse impact of the systemic risk, and how can we take advantage of this systemic risk which has entered the entire globe? And I have given that 4+ points which I have given: young population, and that is why if we can educate our people, make them skilled, and that skill, that education will be of the world standard, then believe me, we'll be definitely able to tackle the systemic crisis much better way. And that's why we need to educate. That is, we have 50% population which is less than 25 years of age. We have 33% population which is less than 15 years of age. We say today across the globe, everybody says we will be not able to get out of this situation because we don't have enough number of people. Now how the government reduces the debt? No government will be able to reduce the debt unless they reduce their expenses. They will be not able to, Western countries will be not able to reduce their debt, their expenses because they want to give more social benefit, and the population is becoming old. There is not enough number of working people, so they will be not able to see, including what Professor Bala said, Obama healthcare. But somebody has to pay for that healthcare system. And America is much better. They invite the migration, but the problem of Europe, problem of Japan, it is becoming much more precarious in that, especially Scandinavian countries and the West European countries. And that's the basic problem of Europe. Europe is a great economy. We have our exports, we have our relationship. I have not again gone how the systemic risk is transferred. It is through the confidence route, it is through the investment route, it is through the trade route. These are all standard textbook available in many of these speeches that many people have given. But then we will be affected by the European crisis also. Absolutely. As and when it manifests, they are able to manage it, no problem. But we have to be prepared, we have to increase our standard. And we have to we have to take the advantage of these four things: young population, low per capita income, that means you can move only on one direction, less complex financial system, and better savings. These are the four strong points of the Indian economy. And if we can capitalize on these things, we will be able to do that. At the same time, nothing will happen. The adverse impact, the fiscal debt, the current account deficit, and external sector vulnerabilities. How do reduce their risk? So, partly it is the Reserve Bank is trying to do, partly it is the government is trying to do. Now, one of the key issues comes when the systemic risk, and it comes in the financial sector. Key issue that how good the bank's position is there, and what is how strong the banks are. And I must tell that in that way also in a much better way, because as I said, we did not allow the bank to take much higher risk. 10% population is only having access to credit. And those who are having access to credit, when they are in the difficulty, they have enough clout or enough muscle power to get a bailout either from the government or to get a restructuring package from the banks. So no problem, nothing will happen. Banks are well capitalized. Their capital adequacy is quite good. Their NPA even as today is manageable. And that's why immediately they are not going to collapse. So that's one advantage. We have already implemented, issued the guideline for the Basel III. In fact, our criteria is much more stringent than what is the general, because we feel that our banks have to take more risk in the future. They have not taken adequate risk. Our financial system will become more risky, more complex in the coming days, as and when India will get more integrated with the world economy. And that's another strong point which we are having. And more than that, we are aware of these facts, that we need to keep the banking sector strong, resilient to face the systemic crisis. So though in the near term the outlook is not very strong, and it cannot be converted into an opportunity unless we work hard. And we need to work hard at least for the next 20 years. And we need to grow by around 10%. If we have to use this as an opportunity, we must do all the right things. And one of the right things what Professor Bala Balchandran is doing is educating as many people as possible and what quality education. Believe me, job is not a problem if we can educate our people of the world standard. And that is one of the great advantages, what we call a demographic dividend. But if we are not able to educate the people, give them the employment opportunities, the demographic dividend will become demographic disaster. And that's also one of the dangers, we must look into that. Current account deficit. Again, we have to take action. We have to tighten our belt. There is no other way. You see, I famously say, India imports every year how much gold? What is there? You say wrong only now. Beyond that, nothing will happen. Nobody is going to shoot you. India last year imported 60 billion US dollar gold. How much? 60 billion. And had we not imported this gold, our current account deficit would have been surplus or near surplus. And every year we are importing 40 to 50 billion US dollar gold. So don't import the gold. Then you don't use the gold in the marriages. Ladies will be very unhappy with you. Can we do that? If we can do that, our problem is over. Another major thing, why our trade deficit? So Dr. Uncle Bala has done a great thing. You need not have car, you need not have, you be only here. And he told me that within 200 kilometers, everything has to be serviced. So bring the fuel efficiency in the system. Don't utilize or travel by only cycle. Huh? And you see, if you can do that, congestion in the Chennai will be reduced. There will be also, whatever vehicles is flying, that will be also more fuel. You see, these are all possible. What I am all trying to say, I am not saying anything which is impossible, which the people will not say that we should not do that. And it is not that somebody is doing that. Why that all your educational institutions should be only in the periphery of all metropolitan cities? Why they cannot move away and do that thing that will create lot of fuel, lot of transportation? Why you can't do that? This is what is happening in the USA. Oxford, Cambridge is not in UK, in the heart of the London. We must understand that that's clear. We can do that, provided we think in the right direction. And the great students of the Great Lake Institute generate this debate. In the systemic risk we have to avoid, we need to act. We must consolidate on our strength. We must take advantage of our strength. That's what I'm saying. You see, so oil bill, if you can reduce, your current account deficit will disappear. The rest, you have to work hard. There is no other way. We must improve our productivity and efficiency. What does mean? That we don't have reserve. And that is why our external sector is more vulnerable. The only way you can improve the reserve is to generate exportable surplus. And how to generate exportable surplus? If you can produce same quality goods and services at lower price, your goods and products will be exported. There is no other way. If you can produce same quality goods and services at a lower price, your product will be exported. We have to improve. That's what the China has shown. But it has done. China has no other muscle power. Only they have brought down. You see that if you go to any Western market, you go for any small things. If it is 20 pounds, it will be produced in the Japan. If it is 10 pounds, it will be produced in UK. If it is 2 pounds, it must be made in China. And that is the average middle class market. It is controlled by them. They have produced the goods and services. I still remember, I have some chemical units we are financing in the Bapi industrial estate sometime before 20 years. And they were all becoming sick. I asked them once, why? What has happened? Chemical goods is not demanded. No, this is demand is there. But our cost of production is so high that if I import from China and export to Dubai, Abu Dhabi, it is cheaper than manufacturing these products here and doing that thing. So there is no other way. We need to work hard. We must not do it for every item, every product, but while we have the advantage, while we can improve the productivity and efficiency. Again, when I am saying productivity efficiency, I am conscious that we will be not able to do that. That will be reaching the level of Japan productivity or Israel productivity or West European productivity. Now, for example, you see food grain. Because today all of you blame the Reserve Bank of India that inflation is due to Reserve Bank. You see that thing is there. And when you say inflation, we all say that protein inflation, food inflation, though it does not satisfy anybody. Inflation may be for anything, but inflation is inflation. But one of the reasons is the food inflation. Our food is in the short supply. Now what do you say? We can improve the productivity. Again, systemic risk. Food is a basic requirement and worldwide food prices are rising and they are rising at astronomical speed. If you go abroad, then only you realize what is happening in respect of the food prices. It will further deepen the systemic, this entire crisis if we are not. Now, what we have to achieve? We have to achieve the productivity of Haryana, Punjab and Western UP in the Indo-Gangetic belt, that is the Bihar and Eastern UP. I am not saying you have to reach the productivity level of USA, productivity level of Australia. Only what I am saying now. No, sir, it is not possible. Our people can't work that hard. But who are producing this food grain in Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh? They are all laborers from the Bihar and Eastern Uttar Pradesh. Same laborers, they are coming to Western UP, Punjab, Haryana, producing this, but in their home, where the land is more fertile. Where the land is more fertile, irrigation is assured, but we are not able to do that. Now, again, why we are not able to do that? We are not able to manage the things properly. That is why Madam was saying that, Professor of Governance, we are not able to govern. Now, can the Great Lakes Institute, that is what we say that, how to produce the better managers of this thing, where you can improve that. Systemic risk will be not able to take the advantage. In fact, this will create more problem, and India has to produce more food. And you see, look, we will be never able to manage the food price inflation by exporting the food. Importing the food. Because if India go to purchase the lentil, the price will shoot up. If it goes to import rice, price will shoot up. India and China, these are the two countries, they cannot import food grains from anywhere in the world, the price will just go up. And today they say, that's why you have to improve the productivity efficiency. How do we manage our agriculture? How do we invest? That's one way if we have to take. That is what is to improve the exportable surplus. Second area, which is not much done, again the management. You see, when you talk of inflation, our productivity and efficiency, okay, our food inflation has to be 7-8%. And let us be concerned because the terms of trade was against agriculture for a long time. Farmer does not get, this is the thing. So there are many things. One is the FDI in the retail. If our cost at the level of the producer is one of the lowest and cost at the level of the consumer, ultimate consumer is one of the highest. How to manage? That is the chain that is going on, the debate is going on. There are many issues. There are also management issues. Because in our country, manufacturing sector only contributes to only 18% of GDP. And it does not give the employment to more than 15% people. Our major people are either in the agriculture, they are not having full employment, or what is half employment, seasonal employment, or many people are making money only in the trading. If you get a license sale to somebody else, you get more money. That is what India the business is. If you get a land allotment from the government, and if you have that, give that land to somebody else, he makes money. If you get a mine lease in your name, and if you hand over to somebody else, you get more money. All of our people are making money by trading. So producer to ultimate consumer, there are 4 to 5 level of people are there. But they are getting employment. If we are saying that I will bring a FDI retail, one person will do that, what will happen to the alternate employment of these people? And that is not possible unless we bring the manufacturing to the back. And that is where our manufacturing inflation needs to be negative or 1-2%. If so long as our manufacturing inflation will remain 5-6%, we will be not able to have 5% inflation. Now, one of the great systemic risks we will be having, our economy will be not able to integrate in the global economy unless we bring down the inflation. And one of the surest way of bringing down the inflation is bring down the manufacturing inflation by utilizing technology. Now, in the technology area, I have a great problem. Whenever I see look in the bank, what I always say, sir, we don't have people. What is people? No, nobody is having the software in this area. To write a software, you can do that. But our people are writing software for in the global system, industry. But our software experts, after they get the degree from the Great Lakes Institute, they are not ready to write the proper system, processes for Indian manufacturing sector, Indian rural sector, Indian service sector. We will be not able to avoid the systemic risk unless, you see that, we can be not able to head unless we take appropriate measure. Our software experts, they must write software product and cost-effective software product for our rural economy and for our rural entrepreneur. If we are not able to do that, again you have to find out how do we utilize the technology, how do we harness the technology, how we bring the best things to do that, so that use the science and technology for bringing down our cost of production. And this is the only way we will be able to avoid the adverse impact of the systemic risk. You see, believe me, globally it is the issue of productivity and efficiency. European crisis is because European productivity and efficiency has gone down because population is gone down. Now, if we see the last 1,000 years of all systemic crises, it is for the first time we are talking of systemic crisis, but systemic crisis has happened in the past also. Where only the entire world was not integrated. And that's why we never said it is systemic from one market to another market, but all markets are affected. Now, what I am saying that world economy could not get out of that crisis without a major improvement in the productivity and efficiency. And this is either the revolution of the railway engine, invention of the railway engine, invention of the telephone, invention of the other communication, even what has happened last time, 70s, after the Vietnam War, this is the dot-com technology, internet revolution, they say. Maybe that this now today what we are saying, internet technology, nanotechnology, other technology, and one of the great advantage we are having in India is that a large number of people in this India, at least screwdriver driver level, understand this subject, they can do their thing. Now, these are the positive things which are available in this thing. One more area, you see what I have forgotten, the wastages. Again we have to change the mindset. You see, in our country the fiscal deficit is high because we have subsidy. But when we have top of subsidy, we only criticize subsidy to poor. We say that Narega has increased the wages and that's why the industry has become uncompetitive. But what happens to that babus who are getting the money, salary? How much the salary has gone up? We don't talk about that. What we are saying, when you have to attack the subsidy, again I am coining a word like your uncle. Wastage for subsidy for rich is a wastage in our society. And subsidy for poor is a leakage. We have to avoid in the subsidy wastage part completely and leakage part. And again the technology will come into doing. So what I am trying to say, let us not be worried about this thing, but we should not be complacent also. One great danger will happen if by listening to me, you say now there is no problem, we have all strength and we will be able to overcome the systemic crisis. That should not happen. We have a great opportunity. We have some negative points on which both, again in my speech, I have covered. I am not going to repeat that thing, but the Reserve Bank as well as Government of India has promised and they are aware of the situation, they will take action. That's the thing. But some of the area which I have said, where you have to generate the debate, you have to create a business model, you have to create the delivery model and make that we take the advantage of this crisis and thereby minimize the adverse impact of the systemic risk. That is what I say, manage the systemic risk in the advantage of the society, in the advantage of the nation. Finally, this systemic risk or what we call global instability will be not able to remove, and nobody will be able to remove unless we create a more inclusive society. Today, one of the greatest reasons of the turmoil, whether it is oil price, whether it is other prices, it is because the entire global situation has become more vulnerable. The disparity between the rich and poor is increasing. And that is creating tension, geopolitical, what you call situation across the globe. Unless we bring down what Professor Bala said, not the passion, compassion for the poor, a sense of compassion of the poor, and integrate the people in the inclusive growth process, will be not able to remove. This systemic crisis will happen more frequently. So one of the reasons, can you use the technology? Can you use our passion with compassion to create more inclusive society where the privileged has more compassion for the underprivileged and rich has more compassion for the poor. The greatest instability and systemic risk is arising because of two fundamental factors. One is the rich has less compassion for the poor. Rich should not think about the poor for the benefit of poor, for helping the poor. We must understand it is for the survival of the rich, poor must survive. If the poor is not safe, rich is also not safe. But unfortunately, in our society, many people are not able to understand. In Reserve Bank, we understand this thing. And that's why high on our agenda is the agenda of financial inclusion. That we cannot have inclusion, this is one area. Second thing, in the global economic situation, because we are again talking of systemic risk, we are proud we have not contributed anything to this systemic risk. We are vulnerable. But in the global situation, what has emerged, we have not contributed anything and we are proud about that. But this adverse impact of the systemic risk or further the systemic risk manifesting will not disappear unless we again address two basic issues. In any financial system, there will be systemic risk if poor saves and rich borrows. If the poor saves and rich borrows. And second thing, there is no correlation between the return on equity and return on debt. I leave it to open you to debate that how this affects. And this is the thing, because I have already exceeded my time and I don't want to take again, because Mr. Bala is very punctual that what is the time has been allocated. But these are the two basic global imbalances which is taking place in the financial market. And in our society also in the financial market, it is poor is subsidizing the rich. Unless these basic flaws are attended, we will be not able to remove the adverse impact of the systemic risk from the financial market. Financial market will become more inefficient. Now we need to address these issues. That remains a topic or the speech for next time we will be motivated to call me. What I can say sufficiently, systemic risk we cannot avoid. We have to manage the systemic risk. Today, India has certain strength to manage the systemic risk better, but then foundation of this is this great academic institution, people in the academic research community, people, researchers and young people who can only convert this systemic risk environment into a great opportunity so that 21st century can be India's century. You are doing a great job, but you need to do the great job continuously for next 30 years. Thank you very much.